Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel. I can't blame Sora this time because she's not here. And with me tonight is SkepTok, or I should say our SkepTok.
Everybody.
Why am I up in my head? I can't do it anymore. I can't do the intro cleanly.
Just relax. Relax.
Just lie back and think of England. Okay, and Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
Hey. Yeah, before the show, OBS was being particularly R-worded. It was just not functioning properly. So we had to restart everything. So that's why we're a little bit late. Oh man, it has been a hell of a week, hasn't it?
Oh, it has been a hell of a week.
I mean, there was the JFK document stuff, right? We've had AI stuff. Trump has been talking about the new greatest fighter that we're ever going to have, our new 6th generation fighter that supposedly is going to be start becoming available in 2 years. Ha 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 ha.
They've been talking about that fighter for the last 5.
I mean, it does make one wonder because he talks about how it's been. Well, okay, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I think a lot of people taking peyote in the desert have probably gotten glimpses of that thing at one time or another.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that'll just, hey, dude, did you see that? See what?
I probably thought it was UFO and Ancient Aliens going to do an entire topic on it one night.
Probably. Man, those UFO shows are pretty great. I mean, they're really entertaining. Okay, so I know you're up to date on a lot of these kind of alt conspiracy strange event things, right? Okay.
Because my mother loves them, yes.
Because your mother loves them. I was just going to say, and it's probably not so much you, but it just being around your mother, who you love and take good care of.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes her programming, you run into it. You pick stuff up by osmosis. And, man, I remember back in the day, when Art Bell was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he'd have somebody on and say, oh, yeah, I found this alien. And there was this craft, and we tried to take pictures of it, but we couldn't because there was this shimmering field around it that made it impossible to photograph. But totally trust us, we found it. And then we found the alien, and then that was outside the crashed thing, and then we took it, and we had this alien body, so we put it in a chest freezer in the garage, But then the screaming started, right? And they would tell these stories, and decades have gone by of me hearing about this stuff. And exactly how much physical evidence do we have at this point? None.
Yep.
None. Just none. There's all the, it's like every now and then, Dr. Jeffrey Lear will show up and he'll say, oh, here's this thing that we've pulled out of somebody, this multicolored thread or this little piece of metal. And we totally tell you that this is of extra solar origin, right? Well, but there's no evidence. I mean, this is just like the longest tease or gaslighting I've ever seen. Either these people are incompetent or they're all lying.
Yeah, they are all 100% lying. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Space is too big for aliens to visit us. Period. Dot. End of discussion. There are no aliens. There are no spaceships. We would either see them coming so far in advance, or even if they were coming at, conceivably a substantial fraction of the speed of light, we would have, substantial warning of that kind of change in what essentially is the cosmic background, which is watched by any number, 100% of which is watched by any number of sensing instruments around the globe. It's too far. It's too far.
It's too far.
Get from one star system to another star system. You just can't do it.
Well, distance and time are interchangeable. What were you going to say, Serenity?
Well, it's like I have the other theory, which is, why would they care about us?
Well, they don't care about us.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. If they exist, why would... If they have the capability of space travel, and we're just learning, and barring on the idea of... Because I'm a...
How would they find us?
Well, it's not even how they find us. Let's say they do have the capability of finding us. Let's put that out on the table. Or it's an accident. They're just flying through a system. They go, that's weird. But it's like, if they have the capability of faster than light travel, have the capability of just space travel, period, they look at us and go, and bearing that they have something similar to the Star Trek belief, but a more hands-off approach, which is don't get involved until they get to space. Why would they, like, if they're that good, why are they getting spotted by morons with cell phones? Like, that's the thing. Like, they can do all of that other stuff and everything else. Why did they get caught by Leroy with his Nokia 620 to be posted on the internet? Like, that's my thing. It's like, and that's kind of the thing. Like, if they do exist and they do find us, whether by accident or by choice, like, why?
They don't and they can't. Sorry.
That can be a theory too, but it's like they're all
not
like
a theory. This is a mathematical certainty.
Only if they're like us, Skep. See
you're basing it on us. I'm saying if they're beyond us.
It would have to be
only if their physics is our physics.
No, they have to be a fundamentally different type of life form than we are. Okay, because water-filled bags of meat do not do well in interstellar space. There's just too much harmful stuff out there that wants to mess us up.
Beams of energy.
But we have learned new things about everything from physics to chemistry to everything else. Who's to say there isn't a way for that to happen?
Right.
No. But human time scale,
right.
no, human scale and distance don't work. If you had a fundamentally different type of creature than us, right, and they were just long-lived, very, very long-lived, didn't have a human metabolism, wasn't based on a double helix, maybe some sort of silicon life form, right? And they just got bored. They could hop a ride on that weird asteroid that we saw that was with the unpronounceable name that was 10 times as long as it was
wide.
Right. It looked like a giant dart, basically.
Yeah.
What would they be made out of?
Well, I said in this hypothetical thing, there'd be some sort of silicon-based life. Fundamentally different than us, right? So if this is science fiction, this isn't science. This is science fiction. So,
but I'm not going to go into why silicon is a very poor subject.
No, you're not, because that's not really the point. The implementation details aren't there. But for it to work, it would have to be something very different than us. So, some kind of life that I don't understand. I don't know what it would be, but it would have to have characteristics more like. Has like a very slow sort of metabolic rate. Doesn't need a lot to sustain it. Has an extremely long lifespan. So the passage of time
every 2,000 years.
Yeah. So like the passage of time, not to go all Kamala Harris, has to actually be less of a burden for them, right? So they could just be travelers that just because they're curious, they have nothing better to do, go around looking. But like things like little green men in spaceships that fly around and somehow defy the speed of light, I'm extremely skeptical. I mean, I need to kind of keep in the back of my mind that, there might be something about the universe that we just don't know that allows for ways of traveling that we don't understand yet.
What if physics really is local and other star systems have their own physics? Think about that.
Well, no, I'm not going to think about that. But but if you look at space as an n-dimensional sort of thing, of which there are 3 physical dimensions and the other dimensions are compactified, and I'm using a mathematical term.
I know
the compactification makes it so that this idea that I'm just going to warp from one point in space to another by a wormhole through these compactified dimensions. You can't wormhole through shit in a compactified dimension. So
no,
so
you can't do anything literally in a compactified dimension.
It's as if it's not there.
Right.
Sort of like the amount of interest chat probably has with the conversation we're having right now. It's that small. It's that small a thing. Their interest is compactified.
It's that tiny a number.
All right, let's do me a favor, Skep. I mean, I can be a little more loosey-goosey with the conversation when there's just 2 of us. Yeah, Functional will probably join us soon, and I've got 2 cute animal stories, which Sora will be very annoyed if she misses. So hopefully we'll get more people. But for now, Skep, please say hi to chat.
We have some great folks here in chat this evening. Mike R was first in, saying good evening. Hey, Mike, nice to see you. Libertarian Duelist is here. Nice to see you too. JB came in. Hey, JB, nice to have you along for the ride. Serenity, very active in chat this evening. Go Serenity, my hero. Yep, we got a good group tonight, and we thank you for joining us. You're a part of this show, and we have pretty intelligent chat. You know, some of the chats are just garbage cans on some of these streams, but our chat is smart. Our people are smart. I love that.
I'm a smarty.
Do you guys remember Sui Park when she did that cancel Colbert thing? And the journalist said, well, I'm not saying you're stupid. Something like your ideas are stupid. Like, you just said my idea is stupid. Yeah, that's what he said. Right to your face. You catch on fast, Sui. I went back and go ahead, Serenity.
Well, I was going to say, all I know is I don't want to figure out that we have to travel through space the way they have to in Warhammer. I don't want to. No. My ass is staying on the planet.
Okay, wait a minute. Tell the old man what you're talking about, because I'm out of the jokes.
Basically, you have to. Well, it's not hell, but you.
Wait. Have you seen Event Horizon, Skep?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Basically, you have to travel through hell for literal, but it's not. But it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a layer of subspace that is basically like just corrupting and full of demons and evil.
Oh, okay.
It sucks.
That sounds great.
Oh yeah, there's entire thing like if a spaceship goes through, if you don't have the right people in the right positions or you get sabotaged in the middle of it, beasts just start falling on your planet, coming onto the spaceship, and everyone goes nuts.
It sounds like a broker job.
It's Cthulhu. That's what it is. It's Cthulhu.
It's like driving through California to go from France to Germany.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
There's some very nice drives in California.
There
It's like
are.
driving through China to get to frickin' Vietnam to Korea.
Functional. We have some of the best drives and some of the worst drives. There's like, if you go into Southern California, like near Ojai, there are some absolutely beautiful roads with almost nobody on them. Bicycle, motorcycle, sports car, any mode of transportation on one of those roads is pretty much paradise. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And then there's just hell. There's like driving through the East Bay on your way to Oakland on Highway 17 or 880 or whatever they're calling it today. It's just like the worst. California is so bad in some places. The amount of time, like pre-pandemic, that people would spend commuting was just brutal. Like, I want to spend an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half in the evening just getting to and from home and work. And they wonder why people don't want to return to the office if they don't have to.
Oh, you want to know what pissed me off about California?
Yeah,
Drove
what this
me
time?
nuts?
Yeah.
I was looking at it because a friend of mine's going to Los Angeles and they wanted to go to Vegas, but they didn't want to drive.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to take a plane. And I was like, well, I'm sure there's a train that goes from Vegas from Los Angeles to Vegas. And we looked it up. It takes 20 hours to get 4 hours because they
Sweet.
stop every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, you're not a bus, bitch. Drive. Why are you focusing on San Francisco and Los Angeles when the amount of money both Las Vegas and Los Angeles could make with a direct two-way train between the two cities would be astronomical. And no one, it's like, yeah, let's just stop every 30 minutes in tiny little towns along the way, because that makes sense.
There's no express from.
Nope, not that we found, unless it's something that only happens at a certain time of year.
Huh.
It's stupid. I'm like, why the F would you not have, why? That makes no sense to me.
Probably because of where they pick up the trade.
It's Union Station.
Huh?
It's Union Station in Los Angeles.
Where do most of the passengers get on? Do you pick up a lot of passengers from the outlying areas?
From the towns that I saw along the list, because there's like 15 or so. It's a lot of the smaller towns along the way.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I get it, guys, but it's not meant to be that. I would think it wouldn't be smart to make it that kind of commuter train. Like, why?
Yeah.
I'd much rather, I'm like, you're better off just renting a car and driving. They're like, yeah, I'm better off doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, in California, it's there's a reason why we drive everywhere.
Oh yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I don't disagree with that. I love California car culture because there's car collectors in California that saved some amazing cars. It's just California could have made so much money back over the last several decades had someone not been stupid.
Oh, it was a group effort. We had lots of stupid people.
But it's like, because Can you imagine if going out of Los Angeles, there were expresses going to San Francisco, just regular trains, not high-speed rails, just regular trains, going to San Francisco, going to Las Vegas, going down into Mexico or something like that, or even just going to Texas, and then you could go down to Mexico. The amount of money Los Angeles itself would make from that, from people who being able to go, I can go to Tijuana, get drunk, and then get back on the train. Hell yeah, let's do this. Like, it's just, I'm like, oh my God, you will need a better financial manager. Jesus Christ. You're making me hurt, and I only have an associate's in accounting. What the fuck, man?
Nah, I think we should just like let it sail off into the ocean.
I know, but I like people in California. I have family in California, and there's Harry. I don't want to lose California.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to break some eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah, that's the way it is, right?
And then we can integrate, most of Canada into the United States, and it'll be happy.
Oh, I still love the Californians who thought that Denmark buying them would actually make them more viable. And I was like, have you seen Denmark's money? No, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
sorry,
good times.
I'm saying there wouldn't be growing pains, but,
So there was a TV show on UK TV. It's on BBC. I've got it right here, and it was Oz and James' Big Wine Adventure, Season 2. And Season 1 is where basically Oz Clarke, wine expert, tries to teach James May about wine in France.
Oh,
and so they
God.
tour around France. It's some great TV. It's
let me guess,
fantastic
Oz
TV.
is the guy in the foreground here.
Oz is the guy in the foreground. So they end up getting
that's Oz.
this big ass Winnebago thing. Of course, it's all put on for TV. So they get in this big ass Winnebago.
And they're British, right?
And they're
yeah,
British.
They're both British.
And
Okay.
then they start driving.
James, this is a wine show. Now, California produces 85% of America's wines. Starting in Los Angeles,
Oh,
we've
he's
got
one of
hundreds
those
of miles
British.
of road ahead of us, traveling through all
They're both
the best
posh
wine
twats.
regions. From Santa Barbara
Yes,
to
this
the
all looks
dusty
very
plains
familiar.
of Monterey, through the forested hills of Santa Cruz,
And
ending
as
up in the
Brits, they
world-famous
forget how
Napa
large
Valley.
California is.
Yeah, this is a great show, by the way. I
is
totally
good.
recommend it. If you care about like travel, if you just like things that are funny, and if you want to see what it's like to actually drive through California, this is a great road trip that somebody actually captured. It's a pretty fantastic show.
666 likes, eh?
Sorry.
Well, I think
Oh yeah.
that's
Well, this
on
is just somebody.
Netflix.
Well, this is some idiot rebroadcasting it
Oh.
on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. I enjoyed it quite a bit. They also did a third season in the UK, which was Oz and James Drink to Britain. So there was a lot of cider and other things. It wasn't just wine. The show about the British wine industry would have been a lot shorter.
Well, it was a lot shorter, and I don't think it did as well because I don't think anybody cared.
Well, at a certain point, oh, this is funny.
That's actually in Santa Barbara town.
Right, and that's
But
10 quid.
what it said,
Oh wait.
Vivier, Sir Lancelot and King Arthur's court. It was a fabled setting where the days were warm, the nights were cool, and the tables were round.
it's absolute nonsense.
Anyway, I enjoyed it.
Sure.
Yeah. So hey, I'm actually not that hard to entertain.
I've been watching Forged in Fire reruns all week. Now that is a show. What you have to be a certain kind of genius to be like, hey, I want to do a show where I bring on these blacksmiths to make me weapons
Oh,
that I
that's
can use
that
to
show. Oh, okay.
beat the hell out of like dummies and shit and see how well these weapons work. And like these three guys, they made that show, and I'm in awe every episode because not all of them are great blacksmiths, but like one or two are you're just in awe of how they forged that steel in like the 5 days that they're given to forge this stuff. Because I've seen my sister blacksmith stuff. She's a blacksmith, and it takes a long time if you're using these traditional methods to finish a piece. And knowing that and being able to see my sister slave over months to make like a railing, to have these people create these weapons, battle axes, long swords, epis, rapiers, butangs, katanas, like it's just crazy. And it's
Yeah.
all over YouTube.
Yeah. No, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Oh, is that the trench pick? Yeah.
Well, I just want to give
Speaking of
people a
Creed.
little idea of what it was like.
I like their little tiny forges. They're little tiny baby forges. They're little tiny
Dude,
forges. They're so
Serenity. They had this one is season 1. This one crazy little Filipino guy, and his forge at home was a satellite dish with a copper pot, a clay pot in the middle.
Yep.
And I was just like, some of these people are like the reddest of rednecks,
Oh yeah.
and yet they make these wicked weapons.
Oh yeah.
I assume this was a solar forge he had.
No. It was
No.
like literally the dish from a satellite dish.
Yeah.
With a clay pot in the center.
And he was burning, like he was using it to radiate the heat around.
Yeah. To concentrate the heat or whatever. It's just like
okay.
I yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Talk about the fancy.
well,
it's
there's
Boeing.
probably not much to talk about. Although, Skep, are you up to date on this thing? I know you're a big Ward Carroll fan.
Well, yeah, I saw Ward Carroll's thing on this. You know, it has a lot of interesting specs
And
it's got a
speculation.
long-
Yeah.
yeah, and speculation.
This is the one without
Well-
the tail fin, right?
Yes,
We don't know for sure. They've blacked the area where the tail fins would be in this
Giggity.
this picture.
but if you looked at the rendering in his video, it was rendered without it. That is a speculation, as you said.
Well, the idea is if we can get rid of the tail fin, we don't have to worry about that being in the radar cross section. So
That's most of what's left of the F-22 radar cross section.
well, this is Lockheed Martin's rendering of something they would be building, which
No. I'm aware of that. I'm saying getting rid of the tail fins is a big deal.
oh yeah, no, I know. I'm just for clarity's sake, this is not this
Everybody's
rendering.
not just
Yeah.
This is a
Doesn't-
sample of what it might look like, right?
That's Lockheed.
Right. This
Doesn't
is the
doesn't
Lockheed thing.
Doesn't the Boeing have a double wing thing?
We don't know anything.
They're not showing enough of it. When they first talked about it, they claimed that it would not have a tail fin.
So not a tail fin, but a double wing. Like so, the front has the shorter wings, and then the back has the two standard like large.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just thought I saw a photo.
To be
of it
clear,
somewhere, so.
the thing we're talking about is what's called a vertical stabilizer. Okay. Okay.
Right.
So,
Fin, I'm sorry.
and as I mentioned previously, this would be a 6th generation fighter. And it's because of all the computers and fun stuff that we have that I said it's just barely controlled chaos. So the things that you put on an airplane to make it fly straight and true, you don't need those in an advanced fighter because you actually kind of want the chaos. And it has other ways of stabilizing the plane without the vertical stabilizers. And by getting rid of them, you have a lot of benefits in terms of your radar cross section. So,
because you go from looking like the size of a bee to looking like the size of a gnat.
but this sort of thing, if it ends up looking like this drawing, which it isn't necessarily going to, I'm almost looking at this going, would this be a blended wing or a lifting body at this point, Skep? Because I feel like we're blurring the lines on this.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that it's not really. There's no difference at this point because the thing is so much wing. It's wing with little tiny payload on it, and the payload is the guy in the engine.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is, there and obviously providing lift. Bernoulli's principle being what it is.
A question for the more technologically intelligent than myself.
Harry?
It's just pretty much all of you. How susceptible? Because I know they'd put protocols in position to protect them, but like, how susceptible is this thing to like an EMP and stuff like that?
An EMP would not be good, but you can build electronics to survive most of that. It just depends on how much P there is in your EMP.
Right.
So,
And how close the P is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any fly-by-wire, drive-by-wire device is going to have a bad time unless it's explicitly shielded from that kind of electromagnetic pulse.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
or if it can stay, what's the wing thing? Air pressure, floating, flying.
Stabilized?
If it could fly without external thrust, so something like
That's called gliding.
gliding. But what's the stuff that? Never mind. It's not important. But yes, if the electronics had like knocked out Serenity and it was able to glide on its own structure, it would be
Recognizance.
safe to like survive. But for something heavier like a was it the F-16?
F-16 is very heavy, yes.
Which I mean, you basically I couldn't tell you how far, but Skep, like wouldn't it eventually like just crash to the ground? Because it just couldn't.
If you run out of thrust, eventually you will land.
Well, okay. So brings me to ask this question. So if it's as Harry put it, which most of our since 4th generation have been basically lightly controlled chaos planes.
Well, fifth generation. So starting from like the F-22.
Wasn't the F-16 basically also barely controlled chaos?
No, the F-16 is a 4th generation
Or am I thinking
fighter.
the F-18?
The F-18 is a 4th generation fighter. The F-35 and the F-22 are 5th generation
What was
fighters.
the one that everybody always made the jokes that it's a missile with wings and computers to keep it up there?
F-104 was frequently referred to as an engine with a person on top.
There you go.
Yeah.
But so if it's barely controlled chaos, and let's say it's not close enough to the EMP for it to go off, like to get completely like fried when it goes off, but it knocks some of the systems out. Does that mean it'd be almost impossible for them to fly it at that point, and that they'd have to try to land as best they could, or just eject their butts, or?
There's a lot of factors.
Okay, well,
if they have their ordnance still,
Yeah.
like all those missiles on the wings or whatever, that could.
Well, if you'll forgive me for okay, I'm going to play a little fast and loose with the truth here, just to
Go for it.
just to be able to answer your question in like a short amount of time. You can shield systems from EMPs. You would be insane to not have redundancy in key systems.
Okay.
So what you could do, for instance, would be to shield these systems, the key systems, and also have redundancy. And if those redundant systems were actually basically what would qualify as a cold spare, right? So you would essentially have to switch over. So you'd have some other simpler computer switch over, essentially start that thing up. If it's actually not engaged, it's even easier to protect it from the EMP. So you can have redundant systems, you can have cold backups that can be swapped in very, very quickly. There's lots of different ways you can protect the avionics and the ECUs and all the other stuff that's there. But one thing that is cool about this that I think most people who seem to know about these things believe is, do you guys know about the difference between a turbofan and a turbojet?
No.
Let me see if I can find...
Turbofan? Is that anything like a turbo laser?
It's like a turbo laser. Let me see.
Well, I was explaining to you what a turbo laser was, and it's not like the fact that like the laser or anything was turbo. It's just the turret was something that did it the job faster because it had 4 lasers on it. That's why I'm at like, is it a turbo fan as in it's just a really stacked fan, or is this something specifically different?
I promise I'm getting to the point here. Okay. So here in this diagram, you can see at the top a turbojet. So air comes in, it gets compressed, pushed into a combustion chamber, out comes at the back, comes exhaust. This is what you use to go super, super fast. So when we're talking about, I want to go Mach 2.5, that's the engine you use. Now, the thing
that's also heated at some point, right?
Well, it's compressed and then combustion happens and exhaust comes out the back.
Okay.
So if you look below it, you see a turbofan. Now, a turbofan is essentially a turbojet, but only a fraction of the air actually goes through the combustion chamber. Most of the air that comes out the back of a 757's jet engine is actually part of this bigger fan that's actually driven by this initial turbine. You have lower speed exhaust coming out. You have increased efficiency at lower speeds. So what they're doing with these newer engines is they have the capability to run more efficiently for longer, which increases your combat range at lower speeds, but then switch over to a turbojet mode at higher speeds. So, so this hybrid engine would give them the best of both worlds. They'd be able to have more fuel efficiency because, you take off from that aircraft carrier and shit needs blowing up a long way away. You don't
Yeah.
want to have to. You don't want to have to refuel in the middle of the air.
Yep.
If you don't have to, you're way better off. So if you can get the efficiencies of a low-speed aircraft with the performance of a high-speed aircraft in one aircraft, you're king.
You're a winner.
You're the winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, turbofan dinner.
So
Exactly.
they both use combustion functional. It's just the fan uses it in a much lower rate just to get the thing moving, and then you.
Yeah, no,
switch
I
it
get
to
that principle. I can't read it's too small
yeah,
on my
it's
screen. I
tiny.
can't read the little
turbo-
labels, so I can't tell if that says combustion or something else in the middle. of
The-
it.
the way-
Okay, combustion chamber. Yeah. Okay.
Hold on, let's
The way
get talk.
The way that I think of it is like a turbojet is a jet. A turbofan is like putting a fan in front of the jet.
But it's using a jet. It's using a jet to drive a big fan.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to put the jet in front of the fan. I can't talk tonight. Anyway,
No, neither can I.
you know what I meant?
Yeah, you know the thing.
The thing.
by logic.
Profit.
Does that also make it harder to track because they don't put as much heat out if they use turbofan before they switch to turbojet?
No, there's more than enough heat that if that's what you're
Okay.
relying on to not get hit, you're pretty screwed.
Well, or let me rephrase that. Not so much tracked, but like when they do heat-seeking missiles to take out the engines of fighter jets,
Yeah.
like it puts out the same amount of heat, so they're going to get hit anyway without it unless they drop the stuff that they do to the sparklers,
The
as I call
flag.
them.
Yeah.
The flag. The
I know what you're talking about, Skip. I just always call them sparklers
Yeah,
because
no,
that's what they
no.
look like.
Yeah, the sparkly things.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be simple. You could just drop a bunch of aluminum foil out the back and
Right.
They would
good
be fine
enough.
with that.
good enough, right?
So
Not anymore.
we're looking at $29 billion to basically keep working on this, and that's before we even deliver. We don't know what the unit price of this is going to be. We don't know how
that's
many
to
of them they're
deliver
going to
a
buy.
prototype.
Who knows?
That's to deliver a prototype.
Yeah. This is fine.
Yeah, that's gonna be fine. It'll be
Why are
okay.
we even bothering? Where's the drones? The killer drones that can go like supersonic speed.
Well, this thing is basically could end up being partially drone. It's part of the
Yeah,
speculation that people are having is that
I think this.
the pilot won't really be holding the stick during combat.
They'll be in
I-
some chamber
I-
at base.
Nope.
I
Sorry, go
think
ahead.
they're going to produce this as a pilotless vehicle. I think one of its models will be pilotless. I'll almost guarantee it.
I don't like taking humans out of war. I don't like it.
Well, there's supposed to be a human in it, but the human might be more of an operator than a pilot, if you sort
I
of
know, but
understand the
minute we
distinction.
the minute we make war more and more humanless, the more it turns into a video game, and then we're just destroying the planet more than we already are, and that's my problem.
Well, I think this isn't about the moral decisions of who makes things go pew pew. It's really about the fact that human performance might
Can't
not be
keep
able
up.
to keep up with what
Yeah.
this plane is going to be capable of doing.
Which I understand, but at the same time, it also still one of the symptoms of it is that it takes the humans out of war, which makes it easier to do war because there's no longer a on your side that's attacking a human debt to be paid. If you get what I'm saying, like
Right.
that's my issue is that like I'm all for cool.
Usually
Nah,
doesn't
war never
stop war-
changes.
That usually doesn't stop wars, though.
I know, but it can make people less likely to toe the line, as it were.
A
Like,
little
it's
bit of
like-
war is really great for business. You know,
Oh,
too
yeah,
much
no,
war
that I know.
really
There's
bad.
bad.
But a little bit
That's
of
the
war.
35th
great.
rule of acquisition.
It is.
Yeah.
Is
You
it
know what the
actually the
34th?
35th? Well,
Yes,
peace
it
is
is. You know
good
what
for
the
business.
Peace is good for business.
Yeah.
Everything's good for business.
Any kind of
Play
any
it
kind
right.
of lightly controlled economic chaos is good for entrepreneurs. You just move into the confusion. with-
Wise man can hear profit on the wind.
Exactly. Quark is a great character. Honestly, my favorite part about Deep Space Nine was probably Quark followed by Garrick.
I love
Yeah. You know, just a little aside, I bought a Garrick doll.
cool.
One of the old 90s ones from when the
was
show,
I was
it's
about
like
to say,
a
is it-
12,
is it-
13-inch,
Oh, nice.
doll. Like it's a proper doll in one of the boxes or whatever.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
I found it on Marketplace, so I bought him.
That's awesome.
Because yeah, like Garrick, definitely one of the best characters, and Quark, and just having met Armin Shimmerman, I think 3 times now, he's just an awesome dude. Like he played such a great character, but he himself is just such an awesome dude.
I've heard good stuff from working in the con scene. I've heard good stuff about him. I've heard he's one of the nicer Star Trek people.
Oh yeah. But yeah, almost to a fault, because the one con that I met him at, that I was working at, he was like 25 minutes late for his panel because he stopped to talk to everybody.
Yep.
Everybody who recognized him, he's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And then they were one of the last things in that specific hall. You know how it is, Serenity. Like, you got to do it and get out because the next one's coming. So he stayed for like an extra hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, this guy's fucking awesome.
Yep.
So he's
Too many people aren't like that. They're just, no, get in, get out, get away.
David Brin. Okay, sorry.
William Shatner for about 30 years.
Dude.
All right. So while I've got your attention, Functional, cats haven't dumped any paint on anything. Everything's good. They got
They're
you for the next 5 minutes, hopefully.
They're plotting.
No, I think they're all zoomied out, so we're good.
And don't worry, we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about this, but I feel like we have to say at least something. Ho hum, Snow White opening to 45 million, on par with Dumbo. Saturday AM box office update. This thing is not going to make a lot of money.
It's going to make about $100 million. They've got 300 million sunk in it, about 250 on the to make the thing, and 50 million in marketing. And they're going to bathe mightily. They will take about a $200 million bath on this thing, I believe.
Yeah. We're not an entertainment show, okay? There's people who do this for a living, who've done reviews of it, and sort of, if I just wanted the capsule summary from what I've heard, is that Rachel Zegler, she sings good. She wasn't that terrible. Gal Gadot probably shouldn't sing at all, ever, anywhere, for any reason. That was a mistake, right? Yeah. The story sounds like hot garbage with a terrible ending. And there's, of course, the PR train wreck that we've already talked about with Rachel Zegler going out, not doing anybody any favors at all. And I think the thought that I had when I saw this Serenity, this is probably a good Serenity thing, is if you have a bunch of kids, one or more, and you wanted to take them to a movie and it was a Disney musical, wouldn't it be like infinitely better if you just took them to see like a rescreening of Fantasia, which is probably arguably the best Disney musical ever?
Well, which Fantasia?
What do you mean, which Fantasia? Is there some shitty modern remake? I'm talking about the original.
There's the original, and then there's 2000s Fantasia, which is really good too.
Does it have the same soundtrack?
No, it's a different one. It's a new Fantasia.
That sounds terrible. Is it actually
still classical music. It's still classical music, Harry.
Okay. But even if you just want light little happy songs, just watch the original. Is it really worth all the baggage of having to deal with all the crap surrounding the story just to hear Rachel Zegler sing?
I mean, the thing is that from what I've also learned is that a lot of people don't understand the phrase fairest of them all. Yeah. And that's becoming more and more prevalent the more and more people talk about it, especially when stuff first started coming out. And I'm like, y'all don't understand what that fucking word means, do you? But it's one of those things, it's like, I was never going to see it. The one I'm excited for is the Lilo and Stitch live action. That's the one I'm going to go see.
Sure.
But it's like, they made the movie, and Disney knew that if they didn't release it, people would go, heh, so they had to release it even if they didn't want to. And Dumbo is actually a really good movie. The live action Dumbo is actually really good. Because it's Tim Burton and it's nuts. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's like she brought it on herself. I feel bad for everybody else that worked on it who got shit on because of her. Not Gal Gadot, just because she's not as good an actress as everybody tries to convince themselves she is.
Politely, we could say she has a lot of charisma and on-screen presence.
She's got two of them.
She's got a lot going for her. She moves well. Nobody's ever accused her of being a great actress.
Yeah,
But she looks good on screen.
There's plenty of actors who've made their entire livelihoods at not being great actors.
You can dress her up and light her well, and she moves well. She's got a lot.
She just shouldn't be allowed to sing.
Singing is just not in her wheelhouse.
But it's like it's one of those things. It's like, it always sucks when movies do bad, but it's just, this is like, how about y'all, instead of harping on whatever it is that Disney's done to piss you off this week, this is nebulous. How about you all should have gone and seen Mikey 17? Mikey 17 is an amazing movie. Like
Yep.
the book was good, the movie's really good. Why didn't you all put your money there, or put it on Novocaine, or put it on Black Bag? They're all amazing movies. How about instead of focusing on the bad crap, you focus on the good crap? No one talks about those movies because everybody was talking about, oh, Snow White's gonna suck. Oh, Snow White's gonna suck. Okay, Snow White sucks. Move on.
Well, people used to, like journalists would have to fill column inches, right? YouTube streamers, to work with the algorithm or wherever they're on, they have to produce a sea of content. So they love it when something like this comes along because, was it the Quartering was saying that Brie Larson basically bought him a new house or something? I mean, some crazy
Well, yeah,
thing.
because there's money. Like everybody on social media has realized, there's money in hate farming.
Oh wait, it was a shed. He has the Brie shed. He calls it that because it was Bobcat Goldthwait that let's see, let me unmute Skep here.
I think he's yeah.
Oh,
Do you remember Bobcat Goldthwait, Skep?
Yes, I do. I'm sitting here typing a response to Monkey. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Took my mind off the screen.
Bobcat Goldthwait was once asked about Police Academy 3, I think it was. And they said, well, how do you, basically, how do you manage being in these terrible movies? And he said, you may say that Police Academy 3 is a bad movie. I call it a new house. I mean, that's basically what he told people.
Yeah, it's like Larry Hagman talking about the house that Genie built.
Hey, I love
his mansion in where was that? It was Big Sur, right?
Yeah, I think it was Big Sur.
I don't actually know where Larry Hagman's mansion is.
I can't remember if it was Malibu or Big Sur, but it was like one of those places. And
But
he called it the house that Genie built.
Yeah, and it's just like my thing is like, but hate farming's really easy to do, and you can do it on anything. TikTok does it all the time. Instagram does, and that's just my issue. Is like, there's so much other crap going on in the world. So many innocent people dying. I much rather focus on happy stuff. That doesn't mean I ignore the bad stuff, but it's like Snow White bombed. Okay, like it bombed, and people are gloating like they had a hand in it. It's like this. Stop acting like you're a god figure. You're not. Like, it's okay.
The thing about I Dream of Genie, though, is that it had a fantastic theme to it. And
well, Larry Hagman was in Dallas too, wasn't he?
oh, he
Yes,
was. He was in a lot. He was in a lot of stuff. He was good. So the theme though is so adaptable. I know I must have shown you this. I showed you the Star Wars theme by these people. They did in 2013. The new Project Funk Orchestra in Spain did this whole series of TV themes that they covered, and they were pretty darn fantastic. I'm going to give you a very, very brief sample of this. They just do such a good job with this big orchestra. I mean, I know I've harped on about this before, the fact that TV themes are just not memorable the way they used to be. They're just terrible. I mean, I guess it's because people like Quincy Jones and why can I not remember the other guy's name? Oliver Nelson used to write TV themes, and Henry Mancini. I don't even know. I couldn't even name anybody who writes a TV theme now. Do we even have TV themes?
I do technically, but most of them are old songs.
Yeah.
Because that kind of started with Highlander and the Queen song. Well, it wasn't an old song. I'm not saying that, but having lyrics and stuff like that, and that way, and having big bands do it, like Queen, it's even starting to happen in anime.
But you don't have hummable themes for television shows like you used to have. My Three Sons, you could tell from just the opening music what was coming on. Donna Reed show, stuff like that.
Yeah.
My mom had me watch. Can't remember the theme because it wasn't there when I was watching it with her, but she had me watch Black Sheep Squadron today. If you want to see a young John Larroquette and have some freaking weird moments, that is a really good show from a while ago, from the 70s.
The Boyington Saga. That's actually based on a real story.
Mm-hmm. She told me that. She was, yep. She was telling me about it. Black Sheep Squadron was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I wish I had a time machine. I would definitely go back and want to see all of this stuff live if I could. The Love Boat thing's not good. I'm trying to find the one for the Street Beater, which was Sanford and Son. Oh, here it is. I mean, anybody who's sat through that stuff knows that whole opening. You know, it's just burned into your memory. That's why a theme works, right? It's like a jingle, but it's like at least 60 seconds long.
Yeah. Well, it's like the last one I remember is the Enterprise. Is it Enterprise? The one with Mark Harmon, Star Trek that had Mark Harmon as captain, as Pike. Is that Enterprise?
Strange New Worlds.
No. Mark Harmon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know Mark Harmon. I thought that was like Anson Mount or something.
No. No, like this is before this, guys. Like the early 2000s, late 90s.
I don't know.
Oh my
On
god.
Star Trek?
I thought it was.
No.
Oh god dang it! I gotta find it.
You'll find it.
Yeah, but it might not have been Mark Harmon. Oh god, it was the guy from Quantum Leap.
Oh,
Bakula. Scott Bakula.
Bakula, that's
Scott
That is
Bakula.
Enterprise.
Yeah. Okay.
That is like one of the worst themes of all time.
I loved it. I loved.
I thought the season 1 version of it actually was pretty good. So this is one of these where
I
we're
like
going to agree to disagree. I didn't like the rocked
No,
up
because you're
version of it.
objectively wrong. When
Yeah,
a guy
probably.
is singing and you can hear him doing that in between every line, it drives you mad.
Yeah, you
I
got to
got
fix
them
that in
mixed up
post.
because of NCIS. Because they both did an NCIS series.
Well, there you
That's how
go.
I got the brains
Oh.
mixed up.
And Time Tunnel is
just
better
said
than Quantum Leap,
I'm like,
but
yeah, okay.
that's neither here nor there. All right, shall we get this show back on some sort of
I
track?
love going to the symphony. Some of my favorites, though, have been ones where they specifically do movie, TV themes, video game themes. Video game themes are so great because, and Serenity can attest to this. The old OG, like well-received classic JRPGs, Final Fantasies, Chrono Triggers, what have you, have some of the greatest pieces of original music in media.
Okay, here's something you'll like then.
I do have to say the ARC soundtrack's really good too.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly by the Danish
Bad, the
National
Ugly is
Symphony
good.
Orchestra. This is so good.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Lego my ego?
I mean, these kinds of like experiences at the symphony are just great.
That is cool.
It is so
Excellent.
cool. Actually, I probably should supply the link to people for this one
Yeah.
before we
He's
get
not
copyrighted into oblivion.
He's not touring anymore, but Joe Hisaishi, who does all the stuff for Studio Ghibli, he has, and I have the vinyl albums.
Yeah.
Of all his songs, that the big pieces of music that he did for all of his Studio Ghibli. He was doing a world tour with different symphonies.
Yeah.
That was really good. If you can see anything that Studio Ghibli, specifically Mononoke, Princess Mononoke, or Howl's Moving Castle, when they do the live orchestra with the movie, those are probably, and Spirited Away. Spirited Away is the other one. Those are some of the best ways to see those, because it gives more depth than what movie speakers can really do for the soundtracks. Because they're awesome.
Well, another abrupt transition. Serenity, I think I told you about Affinity, right, as an alternative for Photoshop.
Yep.
Another thing you might want to look for is the granddaddy of all open
GIMP.
source
There it is.
open source image manipulation things. The GNU
Salute
Image
for it.
Manipulation Program, or the GIMP.
Yep.
They tried to rename it some
Didn't
idiot
work.
people.
Fans rebelled. They
I
were like,
love
"Fuck
the
you."
fact that people just said, no, just go kick rocks, because
Yeah.
Right.
you're stupid, and we're not making
Gimpers,
fun of
fuck you.
anybody. It's
GIMP.
just dumb. But no, the new version of the GIMP is out, version 3.0, and apparently it is extremely featureful. So rather than giving money to Adobe, anybody out there in the vast audio radiance, give the GIMP a look, because there are ports of it for every operating system you could ever want to run it on. Windows, Mac, Linux, sure.
This is the first I've ever heard of it, and I've been using
What?
Photoshop for
You've never heard of GIMP?
What?
Yeah. Well, if you've got access to Photoshop and you're not being raked over the coals, sure, why not use it? But if you don't want to give Adobe a bunch of money, the GIMP is well worth a look.
Also, if you're going to use it, you might as well use Scribus and Inkspace too. Just saying.
Well, it depends on what you need, because a lot of people
I know,
only
but-
need a photo editor.
I know, but Scribus and Inkspace are awesome too.
Inkspace is actually awesome, but the GIMP is essentially a work-alike to Photoshop. And if you don't use a lot of third-party plugins, the GIMP is definitely worth a look. If you're expecting it to be exactly the same, it won't be, because that would be dumb, because you just get sued. But it gives you a way of doing most of the same things you can do with Photoshop, and it's free. It's really a great program.
And it works really well with like Python and Perl and stuff. I'm just saying, people,
And
if
it's
you want
just
something
good
for
to support
plugins.
things like that. It's a good thing. Please support it.
Yeah, there's things you can do with scripts and Python. So if you wanted to manipulate a whole bunch of images in an automatic sort of way, you could use the GIMP to do that. That's not how people usually do it.
And you can have your AI write the thing for you, and it will only need probably 2 or 3 debugging steps to get the damn code to run. Not
And
that I
they-
know from personal experience.
And GIMP's website also has a bunch of tutorials how to tell you to do everything.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, the GIMP. GIMP
Excellent.
3.0. Embrace open source software. It's good stuff. So,
Good little boy. Who's a good little boy?
functional.
Ah.
I'm not going to hold you responsible for everything that happens in Canada, but maybe you can explain some of this to me.
But
Why are what the hell is going on? Why has Canada got such a hate boner for Tesla? Are they holding him? Because it feels like they're trying to use him as a scapegoat because they don't feel like they have enough juice to go after Trump, so they're just going after him by extension. Because the issue with Canada is the tariffs, right? And the tariffs have, as far as I know, not a damn thing to do with Elon Musk and Doge and any of this other stuff. So I'm not pretending to be dumb to start a conversation. I literally do not understand what's going on here.
Well, technically it was all EVs, wasn't it? Not just Tesla?
I don't know. Maybe Functional can fill me in, because I don't get it.
Well, do you want me to go full Alex Jones, or you want like the teal deer?
Teal deer.
Well, I mean, just
Gilder,
yeah, teal deer is good. Just give me the high level and the second level
Basically,
points.
the party that's in power, the Liberal Party of Canada,
Yeah.
and their little fuckboys, the NDP, the New Democrats, formerly the Communist Party of Canada, have failed so immensely over the past near 10 years, so well and thoroughly fucked every last bit of governance up, that they are doing anything and everything to detract from that fact, and the fact that Canada is broke, Canada is broken, and Canada is being invaded by foreign countries. And yeah, I mean, it's he's in the news. Elon, Trump is in the news. Tariffs. So they need to go, no, look at that. Don't look at the fact that Canada has nothing left in our gold reserves. Look at them. They're the bad people. And I mean, again, long story short, it's all because the globalist plan for the United States has sort of backfired. And now all the other countries in the world who were on board with the WEF agenda, like Justin Trudeau and now his replacement, Mark Carney, who's an even bigger WEF plant, if you can believe that.
Yep.
yay!
Now
I
need
was
to just
afraid-
like
I was afraid he was going to set you on the right track.
I love the fact you still went Alex Jones.
only
No,
part
but
way.
I could have gone full in detail about everything, but it's not really. There's no real point, because it's the same. It's the same song and dance we've all heard a bajillion times about these corrupt politicians, like your Swalwells or your Pelosi's. Like, they all do these things just for themselves, and yet somehow, even though it's out there in the bloody frickin' open. Hey, look, we literally had CCP operatives funding, busing voters to polling stations.
He said bussin'.
Like putting Chinese students and Chinese citizens on Canadian soil onto a bus, go to a polling station, and help win some of these elected officials. Han Dong is like one of the biggest pieces of shit in Canada, but somehow he got more votes than there are voters in his fucking district, and yet there is no recourse to that. So yeah, I mean, I could have gone full into detail about every player on that level, but there's no point because it's the same song and dance, just a different face, different name.
Yeah.
Like, you think I'm being facetious when I say no? Please invade us. Please liberate Canada. Please liberate the United Kingdom, because they're conquered territories at this point. I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm ashamed that I still live here, but I don't really have a choice in the matter.
Well, okay, and I know.
Okay,
I'm not.
Hold on. Time out real quick.
Sure.
Frosted Glass asked Art Carney, so I feel like that has to be Mark Carney. There we go.
Yeah, Art Carney would be a different thing. That's an old school reference.
Art Carney.
Yeah.
I can't even really remember Art Carney. What the hell was he in?
Harry and Tonto, Jackie Gleason.
He was the Jackie.
Night They
Gleason.
Saved Christmas.
He was
Honeymooners.
The sidekicker on the Honeymooners.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. He was in Last Action Hero. Was the last movie he was in.
Was he?
Mm-hmm. That was Frank.
Sweet.
Oh shit! How did I not know that? How did I not?
You're welcome.
How many times have I seen Last Action Hero and I don't? Oh my god! Maybe it's because of the cat. The cat's in that scene, and I'm just like, hey, there's a cat, and there's a woman with ginormous breasts who's a cop.
I just remember him from Fairy Tale Theater because he was Morty.
Oh yeah.
Shelley Berman's at the end of the Zohan. I mean, it's always fun when you get these little cameo things, almost, in movies. It's a form of fan service, really, don't you think, Serenity?
Hey, man, whatever works.
Hey, not all fan service is chesticles. It's there's lots of ways to make fans be happy.
Yeah, there's good fan service and there's bad fan service. There always has been. Always.
Wait. You guys explained the term fan service to me as in it was always chesticle related.
No.
I never said that.
It's just in anime, 90% of the time, it's chesticles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so in anime it refers mostly to okay. Now I get it.
Fan service can be anything. So you got to make sure you gotta.
I just never heard of that term until I started talking to.
Which the fact that you're in geekdom and you've never heard the term fan service was shocking to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fan service, broadly speaking, is anything that isn't really necessary for the story. It's added simply to just give a little thrill to the people watching it. It's kind of like a wink and a nod, a little inside joke sort of thing. You know, those sorts of things. That's fan service, and there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, to put it in video game standards, it's kind of like in The Witcher 3 when you find the cheese wheel. That's fan service.
The cheese wheel.
That's what fan service
is.
is.
That's when we all get our arms around.
I'm going to take your word for it. But I mean, a good wheel of cheese is always
completed any of the Witcher games.
Yeah.
So.
All right, then I got nothing for you.
Who doesn't like a wheel of cheese?
I mean, cheese is okay.
Love cheese.
Especially if you're, Norwegian?
JB, fan service technically is not something that's done in the service of the fans. The purpose it is used usually is to, the good way is the wink and the nod where you're like, hey,
getting coffee.
We know what you look like, know what this is, and we know who you all are watching. In the bad sense, which is mostly what happens in anime, is stuff for the purpose of cutting it into trailers or cutting it into GIFs to get people to consume or watch it. Having chesticles, short skirts where they all of a sudden the camera goes up their skirt, that kind of.
Yeah.
So it's a spectrum.
Yeah. I use magic to create an ocean so we can have a beach episode. Yay!
Yay! So there you go, JP. It's a lot of things.
Yeah, beaches, water parks. There's
always a beach episode. There has to be a beach episode.
And a lot of the fan service is just so lazy.
It is. Oh, it absolutely is.
And all it really does, it's not enough to be really titillating. It's mostly just enough to make me want to just be ashamed that anybody would know I would watch something. It's like you're watching a thing, and then fan service happens, and then you feel like instead of apologizing for the fact that you're watching something stupid, an adult cartoon, you also have to apologize for the fact that it's full of fan service, and you're not watching it for the fan service.
Yeah.
It's just a lot a lot of apologizing.
Well, it's also not usually for people like you, Harry. It's usually for people who
are like 13 living in, eating.
Living in Japan where they get massively restricted and they wonder why they all have sexual.
Japan is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this version better.
Fan job works, JB.
I like this version better than the pre-World War II version. Yes. Okay, I mean, it's preferable to that, but seriously, Japan, do better. Let's see. Where should we go from here? Well, since we're in the computing section right here, something that I I said in an earlier show, and this is me just saying, I was right. Non-x86 servers boom even faster than the rest of the AI-infused and GPU-hungry market. Yeah, the whole model of using enough power to drive a Tesla 1,000 miles to answer a query in AI is just broken, right? So whoever can do it better, faster, and cheaper is going to be the winner of the bulk of the market. And one way to do that is to just use much more power-efficient servers and GPUs. That's all this is basically saying. So my prediction that I made several months ago is actually coming to pass. So, yay
You
me.
told us so. Go, Harry. Yay.
Yeah, well, it's not like anybody argued with me, so I don't get to do an I
No.
told you so, but
We listened to you.
I did not screw
We
up
don't always argue.
I did not screw up the prediction.
Not. Good job.
Hackers know half of passwords entered online, Cloudflare finds. If you are using passwords in more than one location, that's a terrible, terrible idea. You guys already know this, but here's a number. According to Cloudflare, and I'm not going to get into how they did this analysis, okay? It's just like, if you're using the same passwords everywhere, find some kind of system to manage your passwords and just don't do that anymore. I think on a serious note, and I don't know who this is really addressed to, this is an open question. If it wasn't for the fact that people could just contest credit card charges, I feel like people do a lot of sloppy stuff because they feel like ultimately it's not going to come back on them.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the laziness comes in. Because why should I worry about it? Oh, if they hack my password, it's no big deal. I've got nothing to hide. I'll just contest the credit card charges, whatever, right? So people just don't think it matters, so they don't try very hard. Am I wrong?
No. Dude, we have an entire generation, like late end of Gen X, which is yours, and my generation and Gen Z, who all went into massive college debt because they were like, oh, the party that I like will take care of my college debt. Like, that's proof positive of that.
Yeah.
No, everyone thinks they can just pass the buck on to somebody else instead of dealing with it themselves. And sometimes that works out, but most times it doesn't. And that's the thing with, like, a lot of this stuff, people swing their credit cards. Like, I literally have a little, like, I have, like, an RFID blocker envelope thingy for my all my cards, because I trust nothing, and all my mom's cards are in them, too. I don't tap on the credit card machines when I go places.
Good girl.
Because that's too dangerous. I either have it slot in, or I make sure I discreetly try to pull up on this thing to make sure there's not a scammer. I do use an app
Just
to pay
lift
for
up
gas.
on the cover plate.
Yeah,
That's all you have to do.
I do use an app to pay for gas, but the app is connected through something that I trust. So this way I don't have to pull my credit card out, and it talks to the actual, like, servers at the gas station, not on a thing. Like, I do a lot of crap to make sure. If they give me the ability to do Amazon Pay on anything, like, one of the reasons why I love Humble Bundle is they have Amazon Pay. I'll do that. You're not
That's
getting
a
my
service
shit.
that you trust.
And I still got my debit card janked, but I caught it in time and got that taken care of. But yeah, it still happens even if you're careful.
I think I do remember one time I was running late going to the airport. I ended up driving up to this very sketchy looking gas pump because I was afraid I was going to run out of gas before I got to the airport. And sure enough, it's just like you knew what you were doing. It's like when you know that, like, hey, this doesn't feel right, and you're going to use your credit card anyway because you're in a hurry. That was a lot of paperwork contesting all of those things.
When I travel, I use cash. I like, around here, I know who I can hunt down if something goes, because I could physically track the person down and go, what the
Remember traveler's checks, Skep?
Oh, my goodness.
Carl
When I
Malden.
was a teller in a bank, I one summer home from college, I was had a job in a bank as a teller. One of the things that I got to do was I got to balance the traveler's checks. So I sold American Express traveler's checks, Bank of America traveler's checks, and Cook's traveler's checks. And Cook's you had to mark to market because they were in pounds, English pounds.
My mom always used it whenever we would go to, like,
This was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. This little bank, but it was interesting that there was a lively business. Anybody going abroad, man, they would come in and get their traveler's checks.
Yeah. Here's the commercial, Skep. I dug it up.
Excellent.
This man has worked a long, hard day, and he's got a lot of money to show for it.
Good job.
Other people's
I like
money.
his suit.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
bad job.
He's a pickpocket. His take, $700. It's dangerous to carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. If they're
Carl
lost or
Malden.
stolen, you can get them back.
Streets
Your
of San
vacation is
Francisco.
protected. American
Yep,
Express
straight
traveler's
off the
checks.
set.
Don't leave home without them.
Well, no,
The new Amazon Echo has everyone asking how-
no.
Nope, it's an ad.
No,
Nope, it's an ad.
no.
Bird.
It's Saturday Night Live. I didn't mean to do that. No,
Yeah.
stop
No,
it.
yeah.
No,
Bad,
please,
bad
please
host.
don't.
Are you
hurt
going to
me.
have to go chop that?
No, I think we're okay with 3 seconds. We should be good, but let's not have that. How about this? Mouse to mouse resuscitation. Rodents try to revive unconscious buddies.
Aww.
You like that?
Yeah.
Poor baby.
So, it all started from an accidental observation, a systems neuroscientist at the Keck School of Medicine at the University of Southern California. While conducting laboratory experiments, Zhang and his colleagues noticed that when a mouse encountered an unconscious partner, it suddenly started to interact intensively with it. To probe further, Zhang and his colleagues designed different experiments to analyze how a mouse behaved when it encountered another mouse that had been knocked out with anesthesia. Videos filmed with a high-resolution camera revealed that the first mouse performed a set of behaviors toward its unresponsive partner. First, it sniffed the unconscious mouse's body and then started grooming the animal. Then it took more vigorous action, biting the mouth of its immobile partner and pulling its tongue out, clearing the airway opening. These actions resembled what humans do during first aid procedures.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of projection going on here because you go down here and it says here, let's see, the mice were more likely to administer the rescue-like behavior to familiar partners than to strangers, suggesting that their actions were not motivated by aggressive impulses. For their part, the female rescuers sometimes went through this routine with strangers, suggesting they might have a higher level of empathy compared with males. What complete
Okay.
Horse
I
shit.
want to see the controls. I want to see the controls in that study. I want to see the double-blind
yeah.
scheme, and I want to see the control protocols, and I want to see what got controlled for, and
Yeah.
all
And this
of
is
that,
why I
because
hate Scientific American.
Yeah, and see, yeah, I canceled my subscription a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I read Scientific American not for years, Harry, for decades,
Yeah.
since the 1960s.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all are getting a little.
But Mouse to Mouse Resuscitation is a great title for an
Yeah,
article, don't
that
you
is a
think?
great title.
I know, but the problem is like y'all are getting a little defensive. The female part isn't mentioned till what, 3/4 of the way down the article?
It's the thing at the it's at the end.
I know, but most people don't get that far. They never mention gender until that very last part. Like,
No, it's not. It's not about gender. It's about
it's about the empathy
for
part. I
for somebody
understand.
who's supposed to be a clinical researcher, right?
Yeah.
To start talking about mouse empathy without like a whole lot of shit to back up what they're saying.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
seems
I know.
like
That's absolute fabrication.
But that's
That
still
is-
a theory, though. They're not.
oh no,
fully
well it's a
processed theory.
hypothesis.
But
Okay,
that's the
it's
thing, though, like-
speculation on their part that they're
Yeah.
presenting
Yeah.
as scientific
Which isn't
fact.
that most of science is just speculation?
no.
No,
No.
no.
Isn't that how we got to most of our stuff was speculative thought and then going to see if it's proved?
No, okay. Without
No.
going full AJ Ayers on you here.
Okay.
The thing about science is if you observe something, right, and then you say, I think it happened for reason X after the fact, that's not nearly as persuasive in terms of the scientific method as observing a bunch of things, forming a hypothesis, and then finding some way to sort of test that hypothesis.
Yeah.
Right? Because for any observable thing, there may be countless explanations. Without some sort of litmus test, or there's really no way of determining whether one explanation for it is better than another one. So what he's doing is he's observing some behavior, and then he's just sort of hypothesizing about what it is. Now, what I think is happening here is he has research he wants to fund, and so he's just trying to put he's trying to make what would be dry clinical research seem more relatable to people.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's not particularly evil, but it's definitely spin to some
yeah,
extent, and he's just spinning it because this guy spends a lot of time looking at mice giving each other mouse to mouse resuscitation. So his days are not very rich.
Well,
He's getting a little attention from Siam for an article. Of course, he's going to zazz it up a bit.
Well, yeah, but still, it's not stated as a fact. It's stated as a might.
He's not saying it's a new law, right? That we've observed this in mice and in humans, that the nurturing impulse is stronger in females. Therefore, by extension, it translates to turtles and the whole animal kingdom. Yeah, that would be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of stuff, and I'm not trying to turn this into a long, stupid thing, but I have here under, let's see, what is it? Education. No, it's not education. Give me a moment here. There's so much stuff.
The Ayers name and not tell the Ayers and Tyson story?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to do any of that.
All right.
I'm all about the falsifiability.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Problem of proving.
Yeah. So the whole thing about scientific literacy, remember when creationists were the people, there was the battle between the anti-creationists and the creationists on YouTube?
Right.
Back when Thunderfoot was less of an obvious twat. There were all these...
Sorry to say it. He used to be my hero.
He used to actually produce kind of interesting stuff. And when he took on Solar Freaking Roadways, it's like, yo, go Thunderfoot.
Yeah, I was still with him then.
Go Thunderfoot. That's great. So...
And then he got crazy.
So this is a channel called Sci-Man Dan, and he basically just pokes at flat earthers, right?
To ask you, if we're on a flat earth or on a big round ball, what would you say? Well, before, I don't know, a couple years ago, I would say, I don't know, man, probably a big round ball. But I was watching TikTok one day and saw a video about flat earth and thought, maybe there's something to that.
And that's your first issue. TikTok is not the best place to get your science facts.
Now, see, he's not actually addressing anything the guy said, right? He's just doing an ad hominem attack, right? This is not Sci-Man Dan's best work, by the way. Yeah. But it illustrates the point that during the pandemic or plandemic or whatever you want to call it, a lot of people had like this awakening that people wearing lab coats will lie to you if it's in their best interest.
Oh, yeah.
Politically, financially, get their parts rubbed by the opposite sex, all the kinds of things that everybody wants, right? Basic human drives. Mm-hmm. Scientists are human beings and they will lie about shit. That doesn't mean that the scientific method isn't a great tool, because objectively all of the shit that works that we're surrounded by is a product of that. You were saying that science starts with like a hypothesis. Well, yeah, it does. Hypotheses are really good. The problem is that if you don't have a testable hypothesis, you can't really say, well, whether one is better for another. You have to have some way of evaluating them.
Method.
That's
and then that proof has to be repeatable.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go to see your doctor, right, and he tells you something, now objectively, your doctor 99% of the time knows way more about medicine than you do. You meaning average consumer, right? But your doctor also is a human being. He gets lazy. He doesn't keep up with his continuing education. There's a really hot representative for some drug company that's pushing some particular pill that he wants to sell so he can go hang out with her on a beach somewhere.
Totally fucking happens too.
It totally does. Dude, I'm after my second gnarly bicycle accident, I was in the orthopedic surgeon's office, and I had to sit and wait because that's what you do, right? And you would see just these gorgeous mythical creatures just walking in with these suitcases full of free samples and stuff.
Right. Oh, nice to see you, my dear.
Nice to see you, my dear. I wonder what her name was. It's probably like a Rebecca or something.
Well, they were usually former cheerleaders, so it was probably like Sarah or Rebecca or Emily.
You have to be pretty smart to kind of get the spiel down. So you have to be like not just a former cheerleader. You got to be the smart cheerleader.
No, I mean literally, they would pick former cheerleaders.
Yeah,
that's what they picked, and gymnasts.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
You'd pick the smart ones from that set, though. It's not. Yeah, because these people are pretty damn good at their job, aren't they, Skep?
Oh no, yeah. If you're going to be a drug rep, you better bring your A game.
Well, you have to be charismatic. You have to be sharp enough that you can learn the technical jargon, and you also have to have had at least general chemistry at a college level. And you need to understand either through training or through an innate sense psychology.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah,
you've got to learn to sell.
Yeah,
you learn to sell. They teach you, what they want to say to the doctors, how they want to say it, what the benefits are. That's what you always lead with.
Yep.
And you have actually a scripted group of things. So if you're going to talk about diabetes, I have this story to tell the doctor, and I'm going to show him this group of studies, and talk to him as long as I can maintain his interest. And that's actually my job, was to help the sales reps out in the field to do that with the technical part of their data. I was the technical sales rep that visited each sales rep and said, "Okay, these are the new reports. These are the new surveys we're going to put out. This is what we're going to say to the doctors."
Yep.
It's like I know that part because my mom used to work for a hospital, and she was basically the controlled a lot of the purse strings for the hospital. And my mom has a vaguely male sounding name, so they would send female reps all the time. And my mom, she would not be mean to them, but she's told stories about them walking in short skirts and heels and makeup, and then seeing her and not knowing what to do.
If you want to know when this started, this actually started about the time I was in the industry, about 1979, 1980.
Which fits with Avon and Mary Kay.
Right.
Period
A company called Sandoz Pharmaceuticals decided that the problem was getting their foot in the door to see the doctor, and they started hiring beautiful women, and their entry rates into their abilities to make appointments to do sales presentations for doctors, which is done in return for samples. That's a whole nother thing. Went way up, and it was Sandoz that actually led to the rest of the industry beginning to hire great-looking women to get in the door, just to get their message across, just to get the materials in front of the doctors.
Well, Sandoz was pretty amazing company. Weren't they the ones that originally developed LSD for the government?
It was them and Hoffman LaRoche also. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. My job is to get you guys talking, but I'm talking way too much, so I'm sorry,
You're
chat.
too interesting. Here you talk too.
So I just realized something, though. After Gnarly Bike Crash number 2, I tried all kinds of things to sort of deal with the pain and the inflammation, because I was kind of messed up. Yeah. Okay, it was not good. And the reps, of course, leave all these little sample packs and stuff. And so sometimes the doctor would be like, I got all these samples here, have these so you don't have to buy the prescriptions. So they would just hand you a bunch of these little sample packs of whatever it is that they just got from the hot rep.
Gotcha.
And
yeah, exactly.
And I'm trying to think about it. I think, and this is not an exaggeration, every single drug that I've ever received via sample pack was later pulled from the market because of some very serious side effect. I am not kidding. I took a sample pack of Seldane. I took a sample pack of Vioxx. I took a sample pack of Celebrex.
Sorry.
I mean, literally everything I've ever taken where I got a sample pack has been pulled from the market because it killed people.
Yeah, those are all crap drugs. Every one of those drugs is a crap
rest
drug.
of you didn't die, Harry.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Vioxx was a great drug, though. It's like it gives you more relief from inflammation than anything except 800 milligrams of Motrin.
Was Vioxx did it get pulled because it was causing it too well and people were bleeding out?
No, heart problems.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That makes
Vioxx, Celebrex, those were all COX-2 inhibitors. So it targeted a inflammation pathway in the body. So, and it had no other side effects. So either you took it and you felt great, or you died. Either way, less complaining.
There are successful COX-2 antagonists. You know that, right?
I don't know. I'm not up to date on the pharmacology. Is there one out there now that's being prescribed and has a good safety profile? Because
Toradol is a.
I don't think Toradol is just a
COX.
COX-2 though. It covers COX and other ones, COX-2 and other ones, doesn't it?
You might be right. Let me
Toradol,
see.
I think, has other side effects. Toradol is a great drug though, for as far as I know.
There was some drug that was like recently because I was watching news with my mom, and that like it's kind of the same thing. There's some people it causes. I think it was another heart problem, but it started with I think a K, and I can't remember the name of the drug now. But other people it just took their pain away.
Yeah.
They were actually able to and so there's people fighting to keep it on the market. I can't remember what it's called
What's
now.
the name of it?
I don't know.
She
It's
doesn't
pissing me
know.
off. It's like it starts with a K though, I think, because I think that was what the thing I thought was weird because there's very few K drugs out there, and I think it was like Cradamat or something like I can't remember what it was. I'm trying to find it now, but I can't.
You're thinking of Keterolac?
I might. I'm not sure.
That's the chemical name.
Oh no
Toradol.
Kratom K-R-A-T
Oh, okay.
Kratom or whatever the hell it is. Yeah.
And Harry, you're right. Toradol is non-selective, COX-1 and COX-2.
It's a great drug though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kratom. Yeah, that's the thing because people are fighting to keep it on the market.
The injections are a bitch, by the way. I've had an injection of Toradol. It hurts like a motherfucker.
Yep. It does.
It hurts like gamma globulin hurts.
Well, and I told you I had a friend who needed those injections, and I would get calls sometimes in the middle of the night. Hey, can you come over and give me one of these? And yeah, because
He couldn't
I
inject
I
himself.
like to think I'm a good friend.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
that's an IM. That's an IM, isn't it?
Yeah, it's relatively easy. Even
But
even a,
it's not-
even a schmuck like me can deliver an IM.
Well, and not, IM is actually a little
Intramuscular.
Bit harder than, yeah, it's a little bit harder than a sub-Q.
Yeah, but it's
And
not IV.
It's not a little sub-Q shot. You
No.
have to hit muscle and deliver it to muscle.
Yes, sir, that is correct. All right, let's stop grossing people out.
I have a problem with needles, and I'm just like,
Oh, okay. All right, we'll stop.
Here,
talking.
I'll take your
You're
mind
fine.
off of it. So let's see. So the JFK stuff dropped. A bunch of the JFK papers, and we still
know so much more now.
Not really. Although it did piss some people off. People named in JFK assassination documents are not happy their personal information was released. Well, I guess it sucks to be you.
Yeah.
I'm
Get over
sorry.
yourself.
Yeah, get over yourself. We're not going to censor this stuff just because you're named in this stuff.
Right.
Because lots of people knew Jeffrey Epstein. Lots of people flew on those
Yeah.
planes. What we're interested in is the people that regularly flew to and from the island and that there's
Yeah.
allegations about. Lots of people knew Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's like the only people who are going to drag you are the people who are desperate to have something to talk about because everybody thought the JFK papers were going to be a bigger deal than what they were. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you've
calm
heard
down.
me talk about Dorothy Kilgallen's death, right? She was the journalist who spoke with Jack Ruby, the only journalist who spoke with Jack Ruby, who was going to write a book and it was going to be a huge career thing. There's no way in hell that Dorothy Kilgallen killed herself. I would believe that Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself much, much, much more easily than that Dorothy Kilgallen ever did it. So I went through the JFK things to see if there was any mention of her.
No.
So there's a mention, but it's not anything
It's not
useful.
worth it,
It's
yeah.
totally not worth it. And
Because
if-
that would have blown a lot of people up if Kilgallen had gotten mentioned, but they didn't.
yeah, and they
'cause I
still
kn-
basically won't open this back up. So this is from January 4th. Manhattan DA won't investigate famed journalist Dorothy Kilgallen's 1965 death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw you people. Honestly, this in many ways, between this and the Gulf of Tonkin, my trust of the government and process went away a long time ago. I didn't need to wait for COVID to be skeptical about stuff.
Well, I mean, it's also like, I'm sorry, but let's face facts here. After the stuff the Kennedy family's done, Chappaquiddick being the least of it, like that's the smallest little part on that totem pole. I'm amazed as many Kennedys in that time made it to adulthood as they did, because they were the mob essentially. The Kennedys were back then. They just basically were the mob, and it's just like, I'm like, I am during that time because my mom's talked about it. It was horrific, but as she even said, she's like they were the mob. They took them out like someone would take out a mob. That's all it is.
Well, we know that the FBI and the CIA had dealings with the mob, probably
yeah.
over Cuba. I mean, that stuff is out there, right?
Well, not just Cuba, but everywhere. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, we know that there were interactions between them, but saying that they were involved in the Kennedy thing, that takes a little bit more red yarn.
Well, no. What I mean is that
to tie that together.
What I mean is whoever took the Kennedys out took them out like they were a member of the mob.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is that it's like, I'm not saying it was the mob who did it. I'm just saying that considering how the Kennedy family acted and the actions they took over the entire leading up to both Bobby and John's deaths, they got taken out like mob members. That's what they got taken out like. It sucks.
No, I know. Well, it's like the hypothetical aliens. I wasn't saying I don't know what they are, but I know if for this to work, they would have to have the following characteristics, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you're saying you don't know who did it, but you're saying these are the characteristics that they had.
Yeah, it's a mob hit. Both of those were mob hits.
Yeah, innuendo is fun. I like innuendo.
It's like both of those were mob hits, mob style hits, because they
Allegedly.
were done very publicly in a very precarious situation to make this statement known. Let me put it that way. And that's what it feels like. That feels like a mob hit. Whether it's actual mob or not, I don't know. But it feels like someone who at least had an idea of how the mob works does it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have time. I actually thought about using Grok and said I was going to say, draw me an image of a bullet dressed up like a magician. And I was going to superimpose that.
Magical bullet.
Yeah, so JFK files 5 unanswered questions that still remain after president's assassination.
They will remain unanswered.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like, it's way too little. It doesn't tell you all of the things that we want to know, right?
Well, the thing is also, let's face facts. If the people had any kind of power in governmental power, those JFK papers, the parts that would have revealed anything were either the people who did the looking into were told to shut the F up or taken care of, or they were permanently removed, either the person or the papers or both. That's the thing. Like, did you all actually think that there was going to be a bunch of stuff there? Like, really? Are you that dumb?
I'm just glad that people are starting to get really skeptical about Watergate because, anyway.
Watergate was bullshit.
Yeah, let's not talk about Watergate. That was my fault. Just pretend I didn't say it. So the remaining questions they talk about. So was Lee Harvey Oswald the sole assassin? Cue the image of the magic bullet, right?
Of course he was.
What was the role of government?
Said that he was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. What was the role of government agencies? You don't know. I mean, we still don't know.
There was no role. It was just a single lone
Yeah, the Warren
assassin.
report just cleared all this up, right?
Yeah.
Why was Jack Ruby's killing of Oswald never fully explained? I don't know. It's a good question, Skep. I wonder if there was a journalist looking into any of this.
He was a crazy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
glad he's gone.
Oswald ended up dying. Ruby ended up dying. Kilgallen ended up dying. But it's just
everything's fine now.
Yeah. Just a lot of suddenly going around, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of suddenly.
Yeah. What happened to the physical evidence? It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
The handling of physical evidence in the JFK case has been heavily criticized, in particular the so-called magic bullet, which allegedly struck both Kennedy and Texas Governor John Connally, and has been accused of traveling at an impossible angle, fueling speculation that multiple shooters may have been involved. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Why were so many witnesses silenced or killed? I don't know. Were they? Maybe it was just too much, not enough fiber in their diet.
Thing was
maybe they took Vioxx.
Connally's wounds were from a directly fired bullet, not a ricochet.
We have trust issues, but I think justifiably so, don't you?
Yeah, very much so.
Fuck these people. I'm not going to stop being angry until they actually reopen that Kilgallen thing.
Yeah. That's funny that you should mention that, because I've been fascinated by that case for a long time. Fascinated and kind of angered that people are not more curious about how she died. I think she was poisoned. I think she was she was taking a prescription sleep aid, like Seconal or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somebody spiked one of the pills in there, and they were just waiting for the night when she would take that one particular pill and she would die.
Good times.
Yeah, and that's the only pill. I mean, it's a great way to kill somebody.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. How about let's see. Everybody. Okay, we've lost Serenity.
Uh-oh.
She's probably off dealing with dogs, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
dogs. That was 5 minutes ago. Well, I can show her this after the show. Alaska's
first time you
passive
ever said
aggressive.
Never mind.
Yeah, don't get me in trouble. Alaska's passive aggressive map of the United States. I love this. So, United States of America, there's a big old thing of Alaska. And then down here, the lower 48. Jesus Christ, Alaska.
Fuck you, Alaska.
Fuck you, Alaska. Nice. Nice.
Well played. Well played.
That's pretty great. All right. Definitely can't do that without Serenity. Can't do that. Oh, okay. So functional.
Oh.
Remember I showed that bar that somebody put in upstairs, and we were talking about how great it was that Oakland, that they had something good going on, and we both talked about how cool it was. Well, buzzy Oakland bar shuts down days after opening due to lack of permits. So the city of Oakland has decided that we can't have nice things, and decided to just do what cities do when they decide to be pissed off, and just bureaucracy them into closing temporarily.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
What is the name of that bar?
Snail Bar.
The Snail Bar.
Oh, sorry, it's above the Snail Bar is where they were putting it. It's like the cool people room above this thing called Snail Bar. Okay. So yeah, the city of Oakland decided to screw everything up. So the day before, the city of Oakland sent a cease and desist letter to Snail Bar and Upstairs landlord, I guess it's called Upstairs, writing that its tenant was violating city codes by hosting unauthorized events and operating an unlicensed entertainment venue. I'm sure they had a license. I'm sure they had a lot of this stuff. This is probably just bullshit. Did you ever run into this kind of crap when you were in the restaurant business functional, or did you not have to deal with that part of stuff?
Never dealt with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there is no job in restaurants I haven't done except for owner. I never had to be in a position of pulling permits and doing all that stuff. Even that's like the back of the house.
I mean, no, there were things with permits, like if we were having special events, but I mean, that was always just like straightforward. Hey, we're doing this event this day. Fill out this paperwork. Done. It was never anything like zoning or ordinances or anything like that, really.
Well, arguably, they already have a permit for the one downstairs. So it's not like it's a completely separate business entity or anything like that. And it's literally at the same street address.
Yeah.
If Oakland wasn't a complete dysfunctional hellhole, they should have been able to find some way to work out a reasonable accommodation.
Yeah.
To augment the permit that they already had, or just take care of this. But they don't care, because business, the way these people in government work is they've never run a business. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to sink tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars into opening up a new venue. They just don't care. All they care about is their petty bureaucratic bullshit.
Man, it's damn there on 50th, like in the 50s in Oakland. That's not a good area.
And you want things opening up that are like businesses that will bring people in there.
That's crazy that they would discourage this down there. They should love this down there.
Considering all the crap that's going on at Jack London Square, they should be very, very happy and excited that anybody wants to invest money in that neighborhood.
Yep.
And all they're doing is sending a message to people who want to create nice things that, no, don't do it in Oakland, because some petty bureaucrat will just fuck with you.
Exactly. How does that city survive? It is so sclerotic.
I don't know if it is going to survive.
It may not,
Yeah.
The poet said there's no there there. She wasn't wrong.
Okay. Want to make fun of Kanye West?
Sure. Yay.
Okay, let me kill the sound here. So this is Kanye West's new Yeezy Cybertruck for only $1.2 million, only 3 made.
Holy.
Now, maybe this is an AI abomination. Maybe it's not true. I don't care. For the sake, it's a luxury belief. This is real. Kanye West is an idiot. This is a real thing. Okay. But this, if it's real, is absolutely terrible. Why would you want to drive something like this?
Because he's insane.
Because you think you're Shaft and you're a bad mother.
I want to see the cop body cam footage of him being pulled over and the guy having the window tint tester. Can you roll down your windows? No, the windows don't roll down. The whole thing just opens like a flower or something equally stupid. This is dumb.
Are we going to get to see it open or
no?
Oh,
no.
really?
We don't get anything.
This is just it.
This is all we got.
Is...
Here's another
Kanye West.
Yeah. Well, here's another video which I just find fun. I enjoy watching other people's pain sometimes. I think the three of us all share this. Turn the sound down.
Okay.
Here. People are dumb. This is a compilation of people failing. Normally I don't like these things, but I like... Oh, that's going to leave a mark. Oh. I wonder what's going to happen now. She's not very good at that.
Mm-mm.
You get the general idea. I just like videos of people getting hurt. It's fine. It's fine.
I've heard about people getting killed from that snow falling on them. Really can ring your bell.
So AirTags, those little things that Apple puts out and other people that rely on the basically peer-to-peer communication with cell phones and other devices. They don't have like a full GPS in them, and they run out of battery. Well, you can just use this new product that somebody came up with, where you can take the AirTag and replace that measly little coin cell with one of these things. So it's a case that you put a couple batteries in, and then you essentially just embed the AirTag in this case, and now it'll run for years. I can't imagine how this would be misused by people. Can you?
No, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's about I think it's $79 to buy the case. So that plus the price of an AirTag. Imagine having a tracking device that you can put on something for years.
On your grandchildren's cars. Did they sell them by the six-pack?
There are GPS-based things that you can plug into the ODB-C connector on the cars.
Oh, actually, we have an app on all their cell phones that reports their whereabouts to mom.
As it should be.
That goddamn right it does. You'll be a kid in this house with a cell phone. We're going to pay for the cell phone. Guess what? We're going to know where it is.
But this is a very logical way to solve this problem. Not enough battery. Just use two inexpensive batteries.
Add more battery.
It just plugs in. It just plugs into
what Functional just said.
Yeah,
add more battery.
Add more battery. Yeah, ever ready. Duracell.
Yeah.
Technology is kind of scary sometimes. You know,
flowing.
But you do
carrying charge.
You do 3D printing, Functional, right?
Yeah.
You could make something like this pretty easily and undercut this guy by $10 and still make money.
Probably.
Probably.
I don't understand why he wouldn't do that instead of ordering those cases from Amazon. But, whatever.
Well, no, he does order them from somebody who makes them. That's the guy who posted this phone repair guru guy didn't actually make it himself, but somebody's selling these things online. And that's just 3D printed with a little bit of stuff from whatever passes for Radio Shack these days. I miss Radio Shack.
I do too.
Radio Shack was fun.
There was some interesting, funky stuff you could buy in Radio Shack. If you needed an oscilloscope, they had you covered.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of got you covered, Emacs. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
The ancient editor of Unix is what Harry is talking about.
Let me see if I can find this thing. I think I actually made some screenshots of this here. Hold on a second. Let's see.
People who continue to use Emacs believe that Emacs created the Earth.
Okay, Emacs. the greatest editor ever created. I've been using Emacs for several decades now, okay? And it does pretty much everything, but I was working on some code where, because of the way it was formatted, the start of this one control block and the end of it were fairly far apart. Yeah. And I couldn't really see the start and the end of it in one screen, and it was making it really hard to make sure that everything was formatted correctly.
Right.
Because YAML is very unforgiving about tabs and spaces and things. So I thought to myself...
What is?
YAML, yet another markup language.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, surely there must be a way in Emacs to have text flow like on a newspaper or a magazine, right? Where it just goes down one column and then starts at the top of the next column and goes down. So I go to research this, and what does it say? I find a post from 15 years and 9 months ago where somebody asked the same question. the fact that in the current year, I'm asking a question that this editor's been around for so long that you can find out what somebody asked about 15 years ago.
Yeah, answered 15 years
And you know
ago.
what? The solution actually still works.
That's wonderful.
The solution still works. So I had two things. So I thought, hey, what if I do 3 instead of 2? Can I get 3 columns working where it flows like a magazine article? And so I go back to the interwebs again, and as one does, and I search Emacs split into 3 even windows because I got it to work, but then the windows weren't the same size. Turns out there's a keystroke for doing that. And this is only a 14-year-old question. So I think more than anything, it was the fact that Emacs can do anything, and it has been able to for a long time. When the answers to your questions are 14 years old, 15 years old, you know you're dealing with some very stable technology.
But the thing with Emacs, it's so configurable, it's almost like a programming language, Harry.
Oh, yeah, insofar as it has an embedded programming language. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good times. All right. So that was a little bit nerdy off to the side there. Let's see. What else do we have while we wait for Serenity to come back? Oh, so San Francisco, to solve all of its problems, has decided that what it should do is just take the waterfront area by the Embarcadero and just make a giant park. Because how could that possibly go wrong? Of all the problems that it has, why would it want a giant open air homeless shelter?
Yeah, let me tell you, when you go south of that bridge on the waterfront, San Francisco changes to an industrial city. That's not a pretty part of San Francisco down there on that waterfront, all the way down the Hunter Point shipyard. It's the shipyard business, or at least it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do this, you will just bring that's very low class, very, that's a very tough part of town. That's the area of town where the guy that I told that story about, who was in my division aboard the USS Kansas City, was killed in that bar by that Samoan biker gang.
Mm-hmm.
And that will come up the 10 blocks south of there. That will flow up into there once they get the traffic, the street traffic out of there, and make that into a park, quote unquote. That will become a homeless encampment.
Yeah, I predict this is going to go poorly.
Oh, it's a disaster.
Well, because
to happen.
They don't have the will to do what they need to do to keep it nice.
Right. Exactly right.
I can tell you that in the city of Monterey, they do not screw around about this stuff. There are all sorts of different, every local police department has its own way of handling things. And the city of Monterey, they will definitely give you the old move along. It's like they will, you are not going to just hang out downtown Monterey and make an encampment. That is not going to happen. I was actually surprised. I was in Monterey playing pool at this billiards place there. It's a great billiards place. And was observing the police giving the move along treatment to some guys across the street. And I was like, yeah, no wonder you don't see a bunch of homeless people in Monterey. But then you go just a few towns over to like Santa Cruz, and it's like, it's all just sort of warm, fuzzy liberal bullshit there. So yeah, it varies from city to city. It's like the cities that have big homeless problems are often because they make things really welcoming for those people to live that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like they go out of their way.
Yep. All right. Well, let's see. What else could we talk about here? So,
changing part.
They talk about all this, the federal Department of Education thing. It's very much in the news, right? What's going to happen to education if they get rid of the federal Department of Education? Because all this money and stuff comes down. So I found this article, I guess it was a couple weeks ago. How much does the Department of Education fund California schools? So turned out that during the pandemic, it bloomed all the way from to like 10 to 20% for some districts. But before the pandemic, it was 5%. 5%.
Yep.
That's an entirely absorbable level of funding.
Oh my God.
If 5%, honestly, how much of a political whore do you have to be to bend over backwards for the feds just to get 5%, given all the stupid shit that they come up with all the time?
They will squeal like hogs.
5%, yeah, that sounds great.
Even the dogs know.
Yeah. Which dog is that, Skep?
That is Jubilee the dachshund.
Jubilee.
Yeah, she's actually my personal dachshund.
Excellent.
So everybody needs a personal dachshund. She's my personal dachshund.
Yeah.
And she is the best alarm clock. She's the one who says, "Daddy, get the 9mm." It's company.
Yeah.
And they're little. You might worry that you would hit like a Great Dane or something. But dachshund, I'll shoot over her head. It's not a problem.
I've got a neighbor with a whippet. That's a smart little dog.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I've got a Chai Whip, a half Chihuahua, half Whippet. I love Whippets.
Yeah, I'm painfully aware of how not cool I am. I mean, I've known this for a very long time, and it's annoying because this neighbor works from home with his wife, and so he's like 20-something years younger than me, taller than me, which is weird because I'm not actually short. He and his wife and their whippet go walking around and stuff, and it's that feeling I get every now and then. It's like, it's weird trying to be friends with these people because they're just a little too cool for me. You get very self-conscious sometimes when you're dealing with cool people. I have a few sets of cool friends, like, woman works at Google, husband is a DJ, all that kind of stuff. It's hard dealing with really cool people. And it's annoying because you get like a Christmas gift or something from them, and they seem to have that magical skill of coming up with a thoughtful gift that isn't super expensive. Like they can. It's
how
like,
do people do that?
How do you do that? How is it that every time I get a gift from you guys,
I cannot grasp?
Yeah. Or if I just say, I'm just going to meet you for dinner or something after work, grab a quick bite to eat. Oh, here, we thought you might like this. It's like, fuck me. They just be. Some book that I didn't know existed that's like super cool.
Yes, and you feel like you're substandard.
Yeah, these people make me feel insignificant with their tallness and their cool dog and stuff.
Yes,
such an annoying feeling.
You sense the coolness gap.
Yeah, you do.
It's it's irritating.
Yeah, under a different circumstance, it's where you say things like, "Oh, but I'm a power bottom." It's like, no, I don't want to. I'm fully aware of where I rank in the coolness hierarchy here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I got nerd cred. No, you got nothing, Harry. You got nothing.
No, you don't.
You got nothing except 8 people watching. That's what you got. Yeah. Thank you, chat.
We love you guys. Thank you.
I don't hate them for being considerate of me, Assassin. I hate the fact that they're so good at being cool. And it's just, there's no Emacs mode for that.
Some people just don't have to work at it.
Yeah, it's just an effortless cool. It's so annoying. So annoying. Anyway, yeah.
Do I have to apologize, Harry, or?
No. Okay. You're just cool enough that it doesn't threaten me.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, man.
One of the things that I know this isn't on the schedule, but there's some interesting things happening on the Israel front. And Israel is continuing its operation, because they did not receive any hostages, which according to that schedule, they were supposed to get some living hostages. They didn't get any, and they are continuing operations. And it is just, it's hell on earth down there in the northern part of Gaza right now.
Well, let me look into it, and maybe we can do a more proper thing next week. But I still contend that a prisoner swap is not the same thing as a hostage return. If you're returning hostages, you should return the hostages because it's the right thing to do. If it's a prisoner swap, that's not the same thing. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm splitting hairs, but I don't feel like I am.
Oh, I don't think it's the same thing at all.
Yeah.
But you got to realize that from the Palestinians' point of view, they consider the hostages to be prisoners of war, and they would call them that to your face.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. Well, you shouldn't be surprised when the places where you live are invaded by enemy forces if it's a war.
Right, exactly. Now,
yeah, this is what war feels like. Yeah.
You fucked around.
Yeah.
Here's the FO.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's about to not be fine.
Well, speaking of people fucking around and finding out, all of these idiots going around vandalizing people's Teslas and Tesla dealerships.
Oh yeah,
God, this is not good. This is not going to end well for you folks.
No,
they have a lot of cameras in these things, and they're going to treat you like the domestic terrorists you are, because that's what they're doing. That's what this is.
They're going to go after them with federal charges on terrorism charges.
But it actually is terrorism. Unlike people in PTA meetings not wanting their kids to be exposed to overtly sexual material in kindergarten, unlike that, which is not terrorism.
Yeah,
right?
This is terrorism.
A group of people, even if it's an emergent thing where there's no coordinating thing, it may not be a conspiracy, but it's still terrorism.
Yes, it's the effect of the act.
And what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
The intention of it is to change people's behavior. Yeah.
Yeah.
What in the hell did I walk into?
We started talking about Tesla.
I really hope they go after the Kyle Kalinskis of the world who are literally calling for this violence to occur and are running propaganda nonstop. Him, David Pakman, Sam Cedar, like all these people. You know what? The propaganda they're trying to run right now is that, oh, well, they're trying to ban free speech and they're trying to do. They're calling, obviously, these are the same people who called Luigi Mangione a fucking hero. So what do you expect from those types of people? And they're losing. People, just normie people, middle of the road, like swing voter type people, they're losing them hand and over fist. And it's not going to work out for them because they too also have to be held accountable for inciting these violent acts.
Okay, well, hold on. I don't want what I'm going to say to be too far from what you initially said, because then it causes problems. Okay. I don't think they're literally calling for people to vandalize these things. It's probably a wink, nudge thing. Okay, no. But this is the thing. If you're going to make that claim, you have to actually prove it, and I mean like in a legal sense, because you're accusing them of a crime, and I don't want to do that because Minions doesn't need that kind of liability. Okay, so what they're doing is clearly wrong, and it sure looks like incitement to violence, right? It looks like they're supporting this stuff. So like when Jimmy Kimmel says, you should never do that thing, right? And then wink, wink, right? That's like very much in a gray area. And they're absolutely right about free speech, but we already know about the shouting fire in a crowded theater thing, right? That's clearly established law. You absolutely can't do that. So I'm not sure if what they're doing goes to the legal standard of incitement of violence. That's all I'm saying, and I want to be careful that we're not saying categorically that that's true.
Yeah, we're not.
You might not. But.
No, I know. But I'm just trying to protect Minions, because if I don't have all my ducks in a row to prove that, right? So like if you had a clip, for instance, we could play that clip, and then we could say, let the audience decide for themselves what it's supposed to be.
I didn't know we were up to that standard.
No, but I'm just trying to be careful about libel and slander and stuff.
I get it.
Yeah. So sorry, I know I'm just
sued for defamation.
I'm also, aside from not being cool, I'm also not much fun.
Okay.
Just
on a side note, the amount of people who don't understand.
At least you've got that going for you.
Hold on, wait. Let Serenity finish your thing.
Sorry.
On a slightly side note, the amount of people who don't understand the difference between libel and slander is amazing, and it's terrifying because it's everybody.
Yep. They're
The
legal
amount of
flat
people-
earthers.
Well, it's like the amount of people who will see something written and call it slander, and I'm just sitting there going, "No, it's libel, dumbass." Learn your shit before you talk it.
Well, the kind of cliche talking point is, well, clearly progressives don't care about the environment, right? Because they're going after the person who's got the most successful electric car company and going after this. The environment clearly isn't important to them.
They backed Greenpeace, who's got caught paying protesters. Like, that's the reason why Greenpeace is under a lawsuit, $600 million plus lawsuit right now.
Yeah.
Because during the pipeline stuff from a few years ago, they were caught, not so much busing, but they were paying people to protest and destroy things.
Yeah. I remember a Greenpeace guy came to the door one time when I was in my teens, and I got really pissed off. I didn't want to have a conversation with this nitwit who came to my door knocking about this. So I said, I think I said something like, I have no interest in living in your subsistence level agrarian economy, and then I shut the door on him.
Yeah.
That worked pretty well.
Yeah.
I wonder if he understood any of those words.
I wonder if he realized how cool I was for saying that.
Yes.
No, I've leaned into my uncool in a long time. But no, functional, I mean, you're absolutely right. What these people are doing the optics of it are really bad. And you may be absolutely right that they're literally calling for this stuff. Did you hear about what Tim Walz was doing?
Oh, his stupid little joke about the Tesla stock?
Yeah, there's a lot from people
That
who
was
should ought to know
pathetic.
better, like people in the government doing the wink, wink, nudge, nudge thing about destroying Tesla stuff. This is just wrong.
Well, that was pathetic, too. He's like, oh, I have Tesla stock on my phone so I can see when it falls. It's like, that's how pathetic you are. That's the kind of dopamine hit you're going for. Like, at this point, like, I have more respect for Clinton getting his winky whacked than that. Like, what the hell?
Well, which time? I mean, how many
Yeah, I
times has
know.
he gotten his bits wet? I mean...
I know, but it's like, and his daughter's, Tim Walz's daughter is just as bad. She looks like him, though, so there's no question where those genetics came from.
Yeah.
But...
As an
but
aside,
yeah.
have you noticed that Monica Lewinsky's been doing the rounds lately?
And now all of a sudden, now that Hillary's not trying to get elected, it's like, yeah, Bill took advantage of me. It's like, yes, dumbass.
Well, there was a power imbalance, but I'm pretty sure she knew what the hell she was doing. You're saving forensic evidence, okay? I mean, come on.
Well, and she knew what she was doing, but at the same time, like, she was being taken advantage of on all sides. Between Tripp and Clinton and her, and she was stupid enough to think she was smart enough to be able to pull stuff off, and she wasn't smart enough. And that was the other problem. It's like, honey, you're not smart enough to be a femme fatale. You're not even close. You're not even pretty enough. Like, you're not. Like, you were an easy target.
She has a certain appeal. You know, I mean, if you
She's
like
not unattractive.
if you
She's not
like that
unattractive.
type, she's actually sort of hot for the type that she is. I guess is the best way to say it. Yeah. Sort of as a hot Jewish intern on the hot Jewish intern scale, she's a solid 8.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like, that's not what I'm saying. It's just like,
I know that's not what you're saying.
it's just, it's one of those, it's like, she tried to play a game that she was ill-equipped to play, and she got played by better players. And then she got used by other players again years later, aka Hillary, and got played again, and then she has the nerve to act surprised. It's like, honey, this is what you signed up for. Welcome to hell. But yeah, no, she's making her rounds trying to play the little pity party.
This was one of the best things ever.
That is one of my favorite SNL skits.
Linda Tripp,
One of
Monica
my
Lewinsky. Yeah, John Goodman dressed up as Linda Tripp. That was pretty great.
Nailed it.
And isn't that supposed to be Vernon Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live used to be funny.
One of my favorite SNL skits. That and Da Bears skit.
Yeah. Hey, you
Both
want to
involve
see?
John Goodman.
You want to see a really cool model airplane? I don't know if I showed this one. Did I?
Do it.
Yeah.
Did I
No,
show
you
this
haven't shown
one?
this one. You haven't shown this one.
This thing is like of a scale where I almost feel like you should climb into that.
Yeah, you should be able to ride it, man.
Yeah.
We put a saddle on that thing. Let's go.
Look at this beautiful
like 1/3
thing.
scale or something?
I don't know. It's
detail on that
that's
thing.
big.
25% scale?
Yeah.
Air Fortress, right?
I feel like you'd load that thing up
Yep.
with some scale model ordnance. Go get Jerry.
I love the little machine gun bubble on top.
Okay, so this one's a little loud, so I'm gonna drop the sound. But
And-
behold,
That's a B-17.
Apache Princess. What was Apache Princess?
Behold a burp jet on a model airplane.
B-25.
So this is like the B1.
That's why it looks like B-17.
Yeah.
B-25. Like
What do you think of this, Skep?
Yes, do it.
You've got to get the burp jet going.
Do it.
Yeah, get that baby going. That nervous
So they're
hand out
claiming
there.
that it goes 400 kilometers an hour on a model
Yeah.
airplane.
Oh, and Skep, that was 3.3 scale.
Really?
Yes,
That's
I'm
a
on the
damn
model
big
air.
model.
So
I'm
about
on
one third, roughly one third.
Yeah, and I'm on the model airplane news website, and that's what it says because it has pictures and a longer video of it.
Yeah, basically the burp jet is about the most primitive jet engine you can make. It doesn't have a lot of moving parts to deal with. It's just a combustion chamber, and it works though. It's just noisy as hell. I really want to build one of these. I got to tell you, this looks like a great way to spend a weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going to model plane events are so cool.
Yeah, but a 400 kilometer per hour model plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want this to.
I got to tell you,
I would totally do this.
I would totally do this. Yeah, men have just some of the best hobbies. They really do.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Harry.
Yeah.
In the words of Assassin, calls it burp jet, but no sound.
Well, I turned the sound down because it's louder than hell.
I know, but I was just
There.
I was being Assassin's
Are we
voice.
happy now?
I still can't
Still no
hear
sound.
anything.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
we
it's
can't
like
hear
the V1 buzz bomb.
The
and,
Harry demands
yeah.
I show proof.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, he can just say, "Oh, this is loud as hell."
it is
Like,
loud as hell. I was trying
Where's
to.
your proof, Harry? You can't just say things.
Well, I'm not saying anything that's going to get us in trouble with this either.
You
I mean,
don't
somebody
know.
might actually me. Oh, I actually used the phrase actually, ASH, however you spell it the stupid way with the K, right?
Actually.
I actually used that in a business
Yeah.
thing I wrote this week. I said, I know this is a flow chart, but it's not a proper flow chart, so don't actually me about it, in quotes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Frosted.
Used as a verb. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah.
Frosted, god dang it.
What did Frosted do?
Frosted.
Are we sure this isn't footage of Hamas launching an attack?
Mm-hmm.
They're too white. And too clean shaven. And too clean.
And too successful.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I
His
know
engine actually worked.
I know I'm being a little limp-wristed about the legal standard for stuff. It's just that, I've got a bunch of guests. I'm a guest. It's somebody else's channel, even though I'm part of it, and I just have to be a
I'm still going
well-behaved
to give
guest.
you a hard time.
You should. You should. I deserve it. I promise you, I deserve it badly.
Button.
Let's see. Oh, it is actually after time for quitting, but we can go a little longer. Skep seems like he's awake.
Really?
I'm doing fine tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
doing fine tonight.
About
So
10 minutes after.
let's see. There was some stuff I was saving for when Serenity got back.
Oh my god, someone did an E flight F-16 Thunderbird 70mm model. I am going down the model airplane news website. Like, don't even just.
Yeah, model airplanes are great.
Oh, they're awesome. I love them. And
I got a model Defiant I need to build and paint.
Frosted, Jesus. Apparently, Frosted had his sassy oats today.
No,
So I'm
that's
not
good. We
repeating
like
that.
it.
I'm
Hey,
not repeating that, Frosted. I'm not.
so
repeating
we're
that.
awake. Chat is awake. Everybody's awake. It's good. Let's see. Can't do that. Oh, you didn't see the passive aggressive map of Alaska.
Frosted's on fire tonight.
Serenity.
Jesus.
That's pretty great.
Yep.
Yeah. How about this? This is an old article. Harry Pothead, bespectacled drug dealer, is ridiculed for his likeness to J.K. Rowling's Boy Wizard.
Probably what Harry Potter would actually look like, not the Hollywood.
Good old Harry Pothead.
Harry, you're a pusher. You're a pusher, Harry.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, they actually have the racing plates on this.
Well, let's see. I think we can call it. There's nothing here that won't wait until next week. So why don't we do that?
The way Frosted's going, he may get us demonetized.
Okay, what's Frosted doing? Let me look at this here. Let's see. Call it burp chat, but no sound. Okay, now that's Assassin. Let's see.
Yep.
Are we sure this isn't footage of Hamas launching an attack? Mercifully, no. Well, yes, we are sure that it's not Hamas. Maybe we shouldn't be giving them ideas.
Yeah, really.
Well, honestly, the burp jet is way more primitive than the stuff that they're building.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's a difference between a rocket and a jet. So the Hamas crap is are rocket engines.
Yes.
I would guess they're probably solid fuel, aren't they, Skep? I honestly don't
all
know.
Solid, 100% solid fuel.
Any moron can make a solid fueled rocket.
Yeah. And they make them out of PVC.
Yep.
Yeah, just make it out of PVC using a series of chemicals, which I'm not going to name.
That's true. Thank you.
But I mean, it's just some chemical and oxidizer, and you just need to build it so that it puts out thrust at the right thing. It's not complicated. And the instructions, they don't need to get them from me. They're getting them from a certain country that's a 4-letter word.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Stupid.
It's all good.
Anyway,
We'll
the
be fine.
one after Assassin where said, no, these guys are actually know what they're doing. That's when Frosted starts getting sassy.
Oh, I don't. I
around.
honestly do not ignore chat, but I'm trying to juggle. God, how many different
He's got,
windows
like,
here? It's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of windows.
Dude, Assassin, I need staff. I seriously need staff.
Oh my god, I'm allergic to your bullshit, Harry.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you. I think that's probably your cat.
I could make a joke there. I'm not going to do it.
Minions hereby calls for revolution in Iran.
Okay, how about
Please, yes.
how about this great album that I found from the past, Skep?
Oh,
You're gonna love this. This is
Which one?
Gershwin with Bongos by the Don Rauch Orchestra.
No.
I
She's
have
about
never
to fall out that
seen
window.
this. I've never heard of this.
Let's go ahead to where the bongos are.
Yes.
Hear nothing, Harry.
Oh, sorry.
Is it the girl in the window?
Yeah.
There we go. I love the fact she's got bongos, but she's not showing her bongos.
There are
Her other
bongos.
bongos.
They're just not enough bongos.
Or she
Let's find more bongos. So this is the Gershwin you've been waiting for, right, Skep?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good stuff.
This is good
No
stuff.
Tito Puente.
I actually legitimately would listen to this.
Yep.
I'm
The
not
bongos.
kidding.
I do. Actually do.
I was afraid of what this was. I'm glad this is a camera. I just saw the top of that, said I put
Yeah,
20 extensions.
blah,
Like,
blah,
God,
YouTube,
Jesus.
what the hell are you doing to me? Thank God it's a camera. Jesus Christ.
Well, just look at.
Because when I just saw that, I'm like, oh God,
No,
what are you
it
doing,
dou-
YouTube? Oh,
It doubles
thank
as
God.
an
It's a
it
camera.
doubles as an endoscope.
Yeah, reach out and touch someone. Okay.
In the words of Frosted, man, this is film noir flirting music.
Reach out and reach someone.
That's the silhouette walking down the hallway through the frosted glass. Hey, the detective's door, and walking in, bongos playing.
We got so much stuff, but it all can wait until next week. So
There you go.
with that, this has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone, for putting up with me and my nonsense for one more 2-hour session. Good night,
Great
everybody.
fun. Thanks for having